This is Nailing the Apex. I'm Tim Hauraney. We just got done qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. It is, what time is it? It's 3:24 a.m. I guess this would be Saturday morning now. But wow, what an incredible Formula One qualifying for the first race of the season. You know, coming in after free practice 3, it was so close between everybody. And I would just say 2/10 covering just 6 cars. I mean, I tweeted this out, but anyone with a mega lap in the top 10 could grab pole heading into Saturday's qualifying. And that's what I put out there. That's what I believed. And you know what? It came down to at least 6 drivers who had a chance at pole position or just getting close to pole position. So Q3, let's just start there. We'll begin with Q3, then we'll work our way all the way back to Q1, I'll finish up with some notes, and we'll get you out of here. But Q3, we had Lando Norris with an incredible lap qualifying pole position. Oscar Piastri will roll off P2, Max Verstappen P3, and then you had George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda. We'll get to him in a minute because that was an incredible lap from Yuki Tsunoda. Alex Albon, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz. I mean, just an incredible group of talent in the top 10 right there, and just all so close to each other. Let's kick it off with the McLaren. All McLaren front row for Sunday's race. Andrea Stella felt that this track here in Australia was not going to be good to him or good to the car or good for them. He said that they felt it wouldn't play into their strengths. He also feels that, Ferrari is much closer than what they appear. He doesn't really believe that their pace from Saturday's qualifying is real. He thinks that they are actually faster than that. Something may have happened, he thought. And this was all his reaction following qualifying. So I get to hear from him. He thinks, they have a good car here now, but he didn't believe that they would be able to lock out the front row coming in to the Australian Grand Prix. So Norris on pole, I didn't think he was going to beat Piastri's time. So Oscar Piastri, for his final push lap, he goes out and sits on provisional pole. He takes it away from Max Verstappen. And granted, Oscar made quite a few mistakes in his initial push lap in Q3, but made up for it with an incredible lap time. And I really didn't think Lando Norris was going to be able to beat him, but I mean, wow, those two were extremely close at the end. I mean, separated by a couple of hundredths. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that. But again, too many mistakes from both Piastri and Norris in that initial push lap. And, Norris had his first push lap. He had his, deleted because of track limits at turn 4. And Piastri he sort of just made a mess of the final few corners and lost a load of lap time. I heard from Oscar post-qualifying, he said that he had went into turn 11 a bit too deep, said once he put too much heat into the tire, they really started to drop off and drop off quickly. And once he came to the penultimate corner, his tires were just messed up due to the amount of heat that he had driven through them in turn 11. So I think, obviously tire management or how much heat the tires can actually take on the McLaren, that could be an interesting storyline moving forward, because it sounded like on the McLaren, the tires were pretty temperamental, which leads me to think that the McLaren can be a peaky car. So if they can't find the right balance, the car may not go as quickly as they would like it to. So yes, they have a good car, but it kind of sounds like their operating window really isn't quite large. So I heard from Lando Norris after this one as well. He even said they didn't expect to be as fast as they were. So sort of echoing what Andrea Stella had mentioned, pre-quali, or I should say pre-weekend. They thought maybe they were going to be about a 10th faster, or just north of that, not almost 0.4 of a second. Again, Oscar putting in just such a great lap. He told us he wasn't disappointed with that lap. He felt like he executed well, and that was all that could, really he could ask from himself. He said he would look at how he can improve and see where those things are and see where he can get better. But also said that, the fans, the fan support that Oscar's been getting in Australia just all weekend long, he felt like it wasn't pressure. He said it felt more like it was support, and that was making him happy and allowing him to push and give it that extra little bit of oomph, But he was happy with the weekend up to this point. He was happy with P2. Again, Sunday's going to be a totally different race, totally different outcome. We have no idea who's going to win this thing. We have no idea who's going to be on the podium. I just think now the question really is for the race is, how are these two drivers going to behave? How are they going to race each other in the Australian Grand Prix and after the Australian Grand Prix as well, moving through this season? Lando said there's been discussions because the team and the drivers feel that, they will be racing, or they will be close to each other more so this season than they were last season, even though last season they were actually really close to each other at times. Both drivers and team feel that they are going to be, way closer in that battle for victories and drivers' championship. And the McLaren has put in rules. They have put in rules between these two drivers, and rules that they are not allowed to break. There are boundaries to give each other a bit more room when they're racing each other. They are free to race, but just keep it clean. And heard from Zach Brown throughout the weekend. Heard from him coming into this weekend. He actually said papaya rules were still a thing, and they were still going to be in effect as well. So Oscar echoed that statement from the Lando had said earlier with, they have to keep it clean. They are free to race each other. But the number one rule was no contact. So both drivers obviously speaking the same language, saying all the right things at this moment, but we'll see what happens once we get into the heat of battle, because that's just a whole other animal. And we all know how that goes, right? Let's talk about Red Bull. Max Verstappen, P3. Just a pretty remarkable turn of events for Red Bull. In Bahrain testing, they didn't really look great. Like, they didn't. And the car looked tricky, and it didn't look like it had a sweet spot to it. And it really took Max quite a few days in testing to sort of iron it out, where he could actually go out and set a performance run. But coming into this weekend, I posted this on Twitter and on Blue Sky, and you can go take a look at it. Basically, all of the upgrades that Red Bull had brought to this year's car, it's a totally different car now than what it was during testing. And Verstappen was able to improve the car over the weekend, but he did say that, this has never been a good track for him and the team and the car. So after everything that happened on Friday, he told us that he was surprised to be where he was in qualifying. He didn't think that they were going to be able to be that competitive because of just how tricky this car has been for them all weekend long. and just, leave it to Verstappen. I mean, this is sort of the same sort of song and dance as we saw, last year after, I would say after the summer break, where it was kind of like the car was peaky. It had its moments, but the driver and engineer really had to figure out where was the balance to give, Max what he needed to extract some performance from this car. Doesn't sound too driver friendly like some other cars actually do, which we'll get to. But the biggest thing was trying to fine tune that balance of the car all weekend throughout Australia. Believe they trimmed the car out to get a bit more straight line speed out of it. And what I mean by trimming it out, basically you're shedding downforce essentially, so you can be faster in a straight line. But when you shed downforce to be faster on the straightaways and faster in straight lines, you compromise, a bit of your confidence going into the corner because the car is a lot lighter. It doesn't feel like it's sticking as much. It slides a little bit easier, and you make a mistake. The smallest mistake, really, it can really bite you, is essentially what I'm trying to get at when you trim the car out. But it really looks like they have. They were very quick in Sector 2, and that leads me to believe that they've probably trimmed this car out quite a bit, I think. We'll see how that works out for them in the race. I mean, you have a good trimmed out car, chances of drivers trying to get by you can be quite difficult. So, I mean, we'll see what happens on that front. The team had been trialing different, floors with this race car. There were different front noses all weekend long. They swapped them out with Max and Liam Lawson. They were sharing, they were splitting duties. And Christian Horner said, they have a good baseline now to start from throughout the rest of the season. I think the car just needs a lot of work and refinement throughout a race weekend. And Max Verstappen's incredible driving is what's going to make the difference. I still think that that is the fourth fastest team with the car that they have. But I think that Max will be the one that makes the difference. And so we'll see what happens in the race on Sunday. But, I mean, there is bad weather on the horizon, and, Max is pretty good in the wet. Let's talk about Mercedes. I mean, George Russell just, man, what a great job. Really strong. George thought it was going to be close, and it most certainly was close. I think he lost about 0.3 in the last few corners during his initial push lap, and he couldn't really figure out why, but he wasn't the only one. There were other drivers as well who were losing a bit of time in that last sector during their first push runs in Q3. Free practice 1, free practice 2 on Friday was good. Was a good learning day for Mercedes. They picked up on a load of good information compared to where they were starting from last year. I mean, Russell thinks a podium is possible on Sunday, and I tend to believe him. I actually think a race victory could be in the cards for George Russell on Sunday as well. So, I mean, not just a podium, but, perhaps a race victory. The car looks good. I mean, Toto Wolff thinks they're about 0.2 off of McLaren. So they are close. They're in the ballpark. And I wonder if Toto was happy with seeing George outqualify Lewis Hamilton there. I wonder, I'd be curious to know what he thought about that, because I was thinking that. I was thinking that for sure. Russell and Verstappen sharing the second row on Sunday. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch. From my understanding, those two still haven't spoken to each other since Abu Dhabi, and we all know what happened in Abu Dhabi between those two drivers. Racing Bulls. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda was incredible. Isaac Hadjar was really strong as well. That was a statement. That was That was a statement from Yuki Tsunoda. P5. Liam Lawson, obviously Red Bull Racing, P18. Wow. Before the weekend, Yuki, he made it known that he still wanted that Red Bull Racing seat. This is a driver who had been passed over for Liam Lawson, and this could be his final season in Formula One, but if he keeps having performances like this, I mean, absolutely, blowing these drivers out of the water all weekend, like Liam Lawson, I mean, there could be some question marks, and there's going to be a lot of questions that need answering at Red Bull. That's for sure. I mean, if Yuki's really lighting things on fire, you really gotta think about putting him in there. If Lawson, if this turns out to be something bad for Liam Lawson and he can't get it together, then you really do need to ask yourself some questions, and maybe you need to swap the two of them. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It is just the first race. Liam still has a lot to learn. We knew that coming in as well, that Liam Lawson would have a lot to learn. But man, Yuki looked good. They are, that team, that car, they're the top of the midfield. If you ask me, between Williams and them, top of the midfield. I really didn't see that coming. Nobody did. We all thought that Racing Bulls were going to struggle. But they got a nice car. They got a good car to build upon for this season. Ferrari. Now, like I'd said off the top, McLaren expected to be fighting with Ferrari this weekend, and we're surprised how far back they were in qualifying. But Norris did say that 1/10 is not much, but the field is so tight that 1/10 now puts you, all the way back in P7 and P8, and that 1/10 does come down to commitment at a track like Melbourne in Australia, such a fast street circuit. And, he's right. Lando was right on that one. There is a lot of time can be gained with commitment and confidence within the car. This track is fast. It's one of the faster tracks on the calendar. It requires, big time commitment. Hamilton's first push lap in Q3 was kind of scruffy. But hey, at the end of this one, Lewis, all positive, right? Felt good. Said he really enjoyed it out there. But he said it's been a lot of work to adapt to this car. And you know what? I believe him. It's a lot of work to get up to speed with a new team, as it's so different from what he's used to. I mean, being within 0.2 of Charles Leclerc, that's a good start for Hamilton. That's a really good start for him, given that Leclerc really understands the characteristics of this car, and Hamilton will take it, being just 0.2 off of Charles. He's going to be studying. Hamilton is tonight, so Saturday night. He's going to be studying rain settings for this car, the SF25, so he can come into Sunday's race prepared. If it rains, what are the settings with the car that he needs to know right away? It's a lot, right? Like I keep trying to tell you, the steering wheel settings, all of this stuff. It takes a long time to get that ingrained in memory, where you don't need to look down at the wheel and you automatically know where to go with everything. So Lewis is probably most likely going to be staying up late, having to, learn this, the rain settings and all the info that he's going to need in case it rains. Just another one of those things that Lewis Hamilton's going to have to learn. But I think as we get through these next few races, I mean, he's only 0.2 off of Charles Leclerc now. I mean, what's going to happen when we get to race 3, right, guys? I mean, this could be a different story. This could be where Lewis sort of turns the tables, right? He's smart. He knows what he's doing. Williams, Alex Albon. Take a bow, sir. Out qualifying both Ferrari drivers. Albon's going to be starting P6. Mega stuff from this team. Hearing from James Vowles, hearing from both drivers, been speaking with both drivers, preseason, the off season, and they've put in a ton of work. The team has put in a ton of work behind the scenes. And you know what? I mean, they remarkable. I'm lost for words. I know you wouldn't expect it, but I am. I am just so surprised at how well they've been able to switch this car around and just make it quick. It's the same chassis as last year. I mean, it's not like they've gone out and created a new chassis, right? They are using last year's chassis. They're just adding new bits onto it and a couple other components. Like, it's very impressive what they've done. As for Alex Albon, he needs to step up this year because he has a teammate that can go toe-to-toe with him. And this is probably one of the strongest driver lineups on the grid. So hearing from Albon this weekend, big thing that they've done with its car is just refine it. So it's a driver's car. It gives the drivers confidence to push and take it to the limit. And the drivers are the ones who are making the difference with the car. And because it gives them that confidence and good feedback, they can take it to the limit. They can find those, extra 2, 3, maybe even 4 tenths, which now we're so close with Formula One that 4 tenths, 3, 4 tenths makes a huge difference. We saw it today. I mean, I think Alex Albon took a car that an average driver would probably put it P14 and he threw it P6. Like that's the difference, right? And that is what's going to make this team just so interesting for the rest of the season. And again, circling back to Carlos, having a teammate like him, that's really going to help push Alex. It's going to help take Alex's driving to another level. These two drivers are going to push each other. They're both going to get better. They're both going to get faster. And that's going to make the team more competitive. And that's going to make the team even faster. So I'm excited to see where they go this season. But let's see what happens on Sunday, and we'll break it all down a little bit more. Q2, we'll do it really quickly. Isaac Hadjar, P11. Really good stuff from Hadjar. Really good stuff. Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, those two were just separated by a few hundredths of a second. They've been close to each other all weekend long, those two. Jack Doohan, I thought actually, Jack has done a decent job so far this weekend. Same goes for Gabriel Bortoleto. That he's really done well. Man, did you guys see? Oh my God. You got to go back. If you haven't seen this, in Q2, Bortoleto's save, just an incredible save. Like, that car would have been rolled up into a ball if he hadn't have saved that thing. The onboard camera of that thing was, the fastest hands. He was like a ninja. He was like Pato O'Ward out there. It was really remarkable. Great save. Q1. Antonelli is Hulkenberg, Lawson, so he's P18, Ocon P19, and then obviously Ollie Bearman all the way at the back, sounded like a broken fourth gear. At this moment, I haven't been notified by Haas as to what exactly broke on Ollie's car, but I am waiting for that information to come out. As soon as I get it, I'll spill it onto this pod if it comes through. But at the moment, it sounds like it was more of a gearbox related issue for Ollie Bearman. So, I mean, he's had a rough weekend, like really, really, really rough weekend. He had his massive crash in FP1. The team tried to put the car together for FP2 and they couldn't. All that damage, the team had to replace the internal combustion engine, so he's already used one of those. Now he's on his second of the season. You only get 4. Also, MGUK had to be replaced. Turbocharger had to be replaced. MGUH had to be replaced as well. So all of those are elements that he's already used up in the first race of the season. So this is really going to set him back here. It's going to be hard in the confidence too. He didn't get any running really at all. 12 laps in FP1. And then 2 laps in FP3 when the team finally had the car put back together. So big thing for Bearman here is finishing this race on Sunday. That is extremely important. And, some people may ask, why or whatever, but as a driver, when you first get into a racing series, and granted, Bearman's already driven in Formula One races before, but this is a new season. Basically working on a new team full time now. It's very important to finish the race. Get the race distance under your belt. Get that race distance fitness. Understand what the car does as it evolves through a Grand Prix, because the car does change. Have that understanding and rebuilding the confidence. That's going to be the most important thing for him. Esteban Ocon, again, he was struggling as well. So this car doesn't look as fast as I thought it was going to be, but again, let's wait and see what happens. See how that all irons out. We talked about Liam Lawson. Him and Max were running separate noses on their cars for so far during the weekend. What else? Just 2 laps in FP3. He had a loss of power during his final push lap in free practice 3. So just not getting the mileage that he needs. But free practice 1, free practice 2 really looked like a struggle. Then in qualifying, his final push lap was extremely scruffy. So he's well off Verstappen's pace. So little concerning, but again, it is race 1. Let's see where things shake out, and we'll reevaluate at the end of the Australian Grand Prix. Adam wants me to do weather updates, so here's a quick weather update from Weatherman Tim. It's supposed to be very rainy in Australia for this race, and that's going to make this track extremely difficult to drive on. You have white painted lines. Those things are super dangerous. You got to stay off those. You have white painted lines and lines that cross and intersect around the racetrack, so you're going to have to dance your way around it. Could be a lot of chaos out there. If this ends up being a full wet race, it's going to be a lot of chaos out there. So I think we're in for a very exciting race. The rookies are going to struggle big time. Rookies are going to have their work cut out for them. Just a couple of notes. Aston Martin. So I tweeted out Aston Martin's turned their wind tunnel on, so that thing's come online at their factory in Silverstone. And they've stopped working at Mercedes. Obviously, you can't be running 2 wind tunnels. So once you've turned yours on and you've got it operational, it's ready to go, then you shut down working at the other one. So Aston Martin has left the Mercedes wind tunnel. They are now working and building out the 2025 and 2026 car in their brand new state-of-the-art wind tunnel that basically is the benchmark for everybody else's wind tunnel that they need to get up to. This thing is it's big time. Adrian Newey was there, went for a wander on day 1 with Andy Cowell and saw the wind tunnel, and he apparently really liked it. So that's a good sign for Aston Martin, right? For Adrian, after seeing the wind tunnel, jump back into the engineering office to get really stuck into the 2026 regulations, because that's obviously going to be huge for Aston Martin. That's what that's what they're gearing up for. That's their big thing. Like I said, heard from CEO, team principal Andy Cowell, said that once they figured out AMR 25's strengths and weaknesses, he said there may be some help from Adrian Newey for some tweaks to the car, but for now, he is fully committed to 2026. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. Please let me know if you want more. This is something we're experimenting with. Told Adam I'd jump on and do them. Actually really enjoy it, giving more information. All the inside information I get it out a little bit faster, which is great. But yeah, other than that, let me know if you like this. I'll keep doing them. And yeah, we'll see how things go. Really excited for the race on Sunday. It's going to be great. TSN's going to have that one in Canada, so make sure you tune in to catch that one because it's going to be an awesome race. I'm Tim Hauraney. You've been watching or listening to Nailing the Apex. Adam and I will be back Monday morning with an Australian Grand Prix recap.